Hello, this is Rodney with the Triton Wave update for Wednesday, August 8th, 2012. Okay, let's start by looking at the left-hand chart on the S&P futures, the ES. That's making its way up this channel in a very slow, very methodical way. I'm going to bring down a chart here that I want you to look at. This is between Thursday, this hash mark here is on a tick chart on the ES, 1597 tick chart, Thursday to Friday. You see how many candles were in this spot? Okay, this is Monday to Tuesday and Tuesday to Wednesday. So this area right in here, from Monday at 8:30 until the close, or actually right now at 5:45 Central Time on Tuesday evening, is actually has fewer candles than this whole area on Thursday. So, I mean on Friday. So to say this was a slow day is mild. It was almost watching it all day long, which I did. It was kind of like basically, I don't want to say sitting in a morgue, but it was like sitting in a morgue. There was really nothing going on, and I'll show you as this is slowly climbing up. This is approaching the top that I thought it was going to hit. It's very slow, very methodical. All the waves are trickling above zero, T1 through T5, but with no real authority. And the reason I say that is because the VIX is up for the second day in a row. Let me bring up the VIX here for a second. VIX, 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 VIX. Where are you? Okay, so the VIX on T1. Let's do a comparison between the 21 on the ES and the VIX. T1 is rolling over on the 21 minute cash price on the ES and moving above zero on T1 here. Actually, it's all above zero on T1, and T2 will be above zero by tomorrow morning. This looks like it's going to have a snapback rally. I still think there's going to be one more attempt at 1400 tomorrow, or the next day, maybe 14, maybe a little bit higher. I think it got to as high as 1403.25 today. So there may be one more push. It seems like they came out with some bad news on Greece. It really hasn't done anything to the after hours. We're only down like 25 cents after being up close to 800 today, and 1100 at one point. If tomorrow morning starts off down, then when it closes the gap, that will be a sell, because that's going to move up. As I say, the VIX usually, almost always, I've never seen it not do this, works inversely proportional to the ES, and now this is moving above zero. This is a heads up that something's right around the corner. This could have a snap up about 170 points, 1.7 points on the VIX, which would be a huge move on the downside. The only thing that keeps me from shorting this right now is because I want a little bit more rollover on the 21 on T5. Just one little wave on T1 is not going to do it for me. I need to see the whole thing under, kind of like what happened over here. So this may take another day, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, but this sure looks like it's in the cards. Okay, the wave pattern on Goldman Sachs looks almost the same. Not the price pattern, but the wave pattern looks very, very similar to the ES on the 21 over here, and somewhat on the Dow. So it looks like may go up a little bit further if the Dow continues over 14,000. One of the nice things is the Dow finished above, let me check on, hang on a second. The S&P is closed over 1,400, and the NASDAQ finished over 3,000. So those are all nice, lofty goals that people had in mind, but it doesn't mean this is going to go on forever. I see Goldman starting to cough up a little bit. T1's moving, starting to roll over on the 21. If this rolls below 0 in the next day, then this is going to come down to 98 for a shot. This is a line of tops from 7.3, 7.17, and it also happens to match up with the 377. So if the market starts going down at all, and T1 is below 0 or at 0 for 2 hash marks, my target on Goldman Sachs is my immediate target is 98. Amazon's still hard to read after the earnings and the 40-point swing it took 7 days ago. It kind of whacked the waves. So we have to wait till that the pricing settles out a little bit and we can see the wave more clearly. You know, like up, down, up here, down here, and then when it got whacked for like between 201, and these are real prices. That's not a glitch. 201 to 240 in one trading day. It kind of threw everything off. So that's much harder to read. Baidu seems to have broken through its cluster on the left-hand side on the daily. It took 5 days to get through all these exponential moving averages that, by the way, are all Fibonacci progressions. I use the 233 instead of the 200, among other things. If you want to know, this is the 8, 21, 55, 89, 144, 233, and 377. So they all seem to bounce at certain levels. This has worked its way back up. Baidu is it's right at a 618 retracement from the top that happened in April. So that may be time for a pause. We'll have to watch the 21 over here to see what's going on. T4 is the only one that looks like it's a reliable wave to read this correctly, and that's still above 0. It doesn't mean the T1 can't come down and knock this down to 124 before it resumes. This could actually come all the way down to 120, from 130 to 120, and still be in an uptrend both on the daily and on the long trend on T5. So just be careful of that one. Always remember, when you're taking any positions, use stops. You don't want to have an announcement in Greece or whatever country is being recognized for its failure. Italy, Spain, Great Britain, whatever it is, and find out that you're 10 points in the hole. Always use stops. Okay, I mentioned in last night's video that I did not like the long play on Netflix because it just looks like a dog. However, what I did mention was if it gets up to 64, because T5 is absolutely entrenched below 0, and it has been since Netflix was 250 back in August 11. So we're talking about an entire year here. If it makes it back up to up to 64, which is a 377, which is the longest exponential moving average I use, it'll be 63 on the 21, and that'll put it at the 21 period moving, I'm sorry, yeah, on the 21 exponential moving average of the daily. That'd be a good place to short, and actually it's the last 2 or 3 days it's been trickling up. And the waves told you that it was moving up in this area right here. I just don't have any desire to play this one. But if it moves up, it's a short here. Okay, I was very, very tempted to short Apple today at 122. 122, 123 in here, when I noticed that T1 was going below zero. But I decided to wait till T2 went below zero on the 21. And then I looked over at the daily, and the daily just looks like it wants to work itself up a little bit. So, and so does the S&P. So I decided to hold off and see what it's doing tomorrow. It was down $1.63 today, even though the Dow and it was down. What was it up yesterday? It was up yesterday 4 points, up down today 1/3 points. It's kind of going sideways. This may be the top. I'm not really sure for a while, but I think when the market starts turning, what I'm waiting for is for this orange line, because this is the one that kind of tells the general trend of what it's doing. I'm waiting for for at least half of T3 on the 21 to go below zero. Another look at this, we can look at the 19, the 1597 tick chart. Let's make this a 21 so you can compare it. Okay. On the tick chart of 1597 on Apple, on the right-hand chart, it moved above right at the same point where T1 did. And then T2 moved above, T3 moved above T4. So it was a sequential movement from small to larger wave. Now, when I went over to the tick chart, and I wanted to see what the same relationship was between the tick chart and the 21 minute, and I found that even though T5 went above zero here on the tick chart, the same that it did on T1 on the 21 minute cash price, all the other chart, T2 went below zero. I'm sorry, T1 went below zero, T2 went partially below zero. You have to go all the way down to T3 to find where this also stayed above zero, where T5 stayed above zero on the tick chart. However, if you followed T3 on the 21 minute, you did not get in until 592. If you followed it on the tick chart, you got in at 575. So the advantage is the tick chart will tell you better what it's more accurately what it's doing. So my tendency would be, after looking at all these over, that after looking all these over, that I would follow the tick chart on Apple, and that's what was not going above zero. So as soon as this starts going below, I'm sorry, it wasn't going below zero. So as soon as this starts going below zero, only then will I think about taking a position in that, which is like in the money calls, because there's only a week and a half left. Mostly a delta of around 65 or 70. Okay, on MasterCard on the 21 minute on the right-hand chart, I looked last night when I did the video, and I saw that MasterCard was somewhere around it was around, let me see, I think it finished at 419. And then I looked over on the right-hand side. On the left-hand chart, that didn't look good to me. I've made a note for the last 4 or 5 days that on T5, I can blow this up a little bit so you can see it better. Is getting increasingly below, nearer to zero. It's 2.8 right now. It's been as high as 58 on the short waves, 58.60. So I said that if it broke 418, then it was a sell, and just buy it if it snaps back to the 8-period moving average, or if it just started off at the 8-period moving average to sell it. So this had a little spike up to the 21 EMA on the 21 cash. That would have been a good sell right there. Came down, came back up to the 8, and continued down. It took out these lows of 418, and then came back right up to that. What was support is now resistance. Look for MasterCard now that on the daily is now completely below zero on T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5 is approaching it. Look for MasterCard down to 405. Okay, looking at the ETF GLD, once it came up to all this congestion of all these waves that are all coming together in this very tight area, even though the waves are going above zero, the stock has done absolutely nothing. So you have to combine what the actual price is and what the waves are doing. It's not just always waves, and it's not just always price. And sometimes you just have to intuitively figure it out. The 21 on the 21-minute chart, it looks like T1 when it went completely below zero. This took a 3.5 point dive. When it came back again, it came back through. These are all either hovering around zero. Even T2 is starting to fail a little bit here. So I would wait for T1 to go completely below zero. Short term, I see GLD either sideways to down. It's also news driven, so anything spectacular out of Hong Kong, Taiwan, China tonight or Singapore could throw the waves off. But it has the potential to move higher on the left-hand chart because the waves are higher. It's just not doing it. So that is a hold to me. That's a don't do anything. Okay, GLD. I'm sorry. Google. Google didn't fare so hot today, even though the trend is firmly to the upside. It's reaching peaks. The old peak in the end of March was 5. Was 650, around 656, 657. But like I mentioned in last night's video, it's made a tremendous run of 85, 90 points. So for it to come back, and it looks like it's already starting to do that. These things don't go straight up. So even if this came back to the 377, which is indicating that it will be, because T1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4, and not quite 5. The first 4 have rolled over. The last one is heading down, and even though the the daily on the left-hand side looks good. 417 on the 21-minute chart. I mean 617 is exactly where the 21 the 21 exponential moving average is on the daily. So that would be an excellent place for that to land. And also, it's a line of tops going back, except for this head here. This goes back the entire year. So, if T4 rolls over, this has been up, T4 has been up since 580 on Google, since July 18th. So even it's had its ups and downs. These are all playable on T1 on the 21 minute. Well, you don't want to play the downside because T5 is up. But if T4 rolls over, T4 has been the wave that demonstrated that it kept you in this trade the entire time from 576 up to 648. So when that rolls over, it's 0.82 right now. It could happen in the first, it could happen sometime tomorrow. Then I would look, when that happens, I'd look for Google to hit 618. Okay, if you were day trading this, and even if you went down to the ES, the S&P futures on 987 tick chart, this is the start of the day where this white hash mark is. There's really not a lot here. T2 went down below 0. But as long as T5 was up, you would not have played the downside. But you could have caught a little bit of this, and you're going against the grain on, or counter trend trade, but you actually could have played this as a counter trend trade down to 377. Well, that's all I have for tonight. We're down 0.25 on the S&Ps. It's 10 minutes past 6 in the evening, Central Time. I'll see you at the next update, and have a good evening.